Welcome. My name is Chad Eichen. I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development for the City of Vancouver, and I'll be the MC for this year's event. You may remember that last year, Haley Heath, the city's volunteer coordinator, served as the MC. She did a great job. She probably should have been asked back to do this. But earlier this week, I was walking down the hall to a meeting, as I usually do, minding my own business, when Carol Bua came up to me and with a really hopeful voice and a look on her face said, "Hey, Chad, you're in charge of growth and economic development for the city." Long pause. Carol's still looking at me hopefully. I said, "Yes," not sure where she was going with this. And she continued. She said, "Well, this year's State of the City address is going to focus on growth and economic development and all of the exciting things that are going on with new businesses and development, and it's something you deal with every day." Another pause, still looking hopeful. "So will you be MC?" So anyway, here I am. And now you know, and you have some additional insight into how the big decisions are made here at the city. So we're glad you could be with us today on this nice, warm, sunny day. To say the least, this is an incredibly exciting time to be here in Southwest Washington and in Vancouver specifically, as you'll hear today. So let's get started. We're going to start our evening off with the national anthem performed by Rachel Bingold, who is a student at Clark College. Rachel, come on up.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Rachel. That was wonderful. Next, I'd like to welcome Clark County Poet Laureate Gwendolyn Morgan to read her poem, Vancouver, Panorama 19. And she'll be accompanied by Judy A. Rose on the Native American flute.
Vancouver, Panorama 19. Transformation, 150 to 290 feet above sea level. City Hall latitude, 45 degrees and 37 feet north. Longitude, 122 degrees, 40 feet west. And the epigraph is from Rilke. What, if not transformation, is your deepest purpose? May we honor the heartbeat of Chinook, Salish, Cowlitz, diaspora of our indigenous relations, our immigrant ancestors, this earth, our home, this city, port city, fort city. Yet who came before us? Hunters and trappers, officers, buffalo soldiers at the Vancouver barracks, sailors and whalers, poets and writers, bankers and nurses, artists and dancers, chefs and cleaners, theater folk, fisher folk, salmon, sandhill crane, Sistina, neotropical songbirds, eagle and osprey on the north bank. Roll on, Columbia, roll on, a colonial ballad backdrop. Do you have your binoculars? Wintering waterfall, snowbirds return, fixed-wing airplanes, flight feathers, or mini RVs. Then the millennials, fixed-gear bicycles, vegan stores. Vantucky, deemed major hipster city for tattoos, coffee, and beer. Hip-hop shops in lieu of catlapote, plank houses. 24 breweries and tap rooms, thrift and vintage shops, Magenta Theater, and Kiggins. First Nations Fish Camp, now city parks, Estershort Park, Farmers Market. Agnostic, Ashanti, Apostolic Lutheran to Vietnamese Buddhist and Zoroastrian. Pray at a mosque or a synagogue just outside our interfaith city streets. Jazz rift, ballet lift, lift number 3, sable brush, classical guitar, ukulele. Mikasa is sukasa. 24,000 young students speaking 98 different languages. 1,300 classroom teachers and educators, plus Clark College and WSU. Exchange students from Joyoya, Japan, our sister city. Where is your studio? Where's your gallery? Angst, Anstein, Cave, 360. Keep walking the streets east before you check out a book at the community library. Chef Sosa is making Dungeness crab and brie fondue at Elements before he brings out pan-seared surgeon and rainbow baby carrots. While your neighbor is drinking green tea at Java House or IPA at Trusty Brewing. Come downtown before you head to the waterfront. Walk past the unsheltered with recycled art, blue tarps, and grocery carts. Hip-hop ballroom dancing, swirl of square dance, broomstick. Transformation is seen, what we're always seeing, with new eyes, new neighbors, new poems, ballads, languages, interconnected. Indigenous, immigrant, one nation, one city, many nations, many people. Everyone is welcome here, 171 degrees above sea level. May we honor the heartbeat of the Couve.
Thank you, Gwendolyn and Judy. That was beautiful. And now I'd like all of us to join in welcoming to the stage Mayor Ann McEnerny-Ogle.
Oh, we have been preparing for this for a long time. Thank you so much for coming and enjoying this with us. Before we get started, we actually have a great little video we want to show you.
Vancouver, 1939, year of transformation. Vancouver is a city on the move. We have a veritable cornucopia of civic improvements. With such rapid change, one has to ask, what will our fair city look like 10, 30, 80 years from today?
That is fun. 1946, Terry. Yeah, the year my husband was born. Those are good. That was great footage. I think we have a Tonka truck that goes with that street maintenance, but that was just fun. And fire poles. Did you see how they ran and grabbed it? We don't allow that anymore. So it's a lot of fun to look back on the history, and it's even more exciting, though, to look at our future. And tonight we're going to share some of the achievements and the progress that the city has made over this last year, as well as some of the initiatives and projects that will guide the city into 2019 and beyond. And while I have the privilege to deliver tonight's remarks to you, our city's success is actually a team effort, and you know that. So it's my honor to work alongside the City Council, the City Manager, and all of our dedicated employees who are with us. They enhance the quality of life for all who live, work, or visit here. And it's also my honor to work with public officials and community partners and residents and businesses and volunteers on matters that mean the most to us. So I'd like to recognize my fellow councilors, Bart Hansen, Bill Turley, Ty Stover, Linda Glover, Lori Lebowski, and our newest council member, Eric Paulson, unfortunately is traveling on business and cannot join us, but let's thank our councilors for joining us this evening. I'd also like to recognize our city manager, Eric Holmes, and all of the Vancouver city employees. Thank you so much for your dedication and passion. And you know how this usually works. We have a long list of all of the other electeds, but they're here from the federal government, the state, the county, the port, wastewater, ports, schools. I'm probably missing some, but if you are an elected, would you raise your hand and wave to us so we can thank you for your service? We always thank Ridgefield for coming down. They have a meeting tonight, and yet Ridgefield is here to join us. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Sandra, for being here. And I know you have to leave for that. Finally, I want to thank my husband, Terry. If you don't know, Terry's the one that makes the coffee, Bob's Red Mill, thick, hot, old-fashioned oats with cinnamon and raisin, and then kicks me out the doors. Thanks, sweetie. And before we begin, I'd like to recognize the winners of the Marshall Awards. The General George C. Marshall Awards are presented annually by the Historic Trust in recognition of a person's leadership potential, their commitment to public service, and their strength of character. And this year's adult recipient is Elizabeth Fitzgerald. She's the executive director of the Clark County Volunteer Lawyers Program. And the youth recipient is Nicole Nugent. She's a senior at Henrietta Lacks Health and Bioscience High School. Is Nicole with us this evening? Rave lots, Nicole. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Nicole, come join us right up here in front. How exciting. I taught with your principal, so tell Miss Tumulty hi for me when you get back to classes. This is the time of each year when we reflect on where we've been and celebrate our shared achievements, and we look ahead to the future. With the city's continued focus on stable, well-managed city finances and striving for outcomes that emphasize long-term prosperity for Vancouver, I can say that the state of our city is strong. At last year's State of the City, we were looking forward to the new waterfront opening, street maintenance projects, the new day center, and welcoming new residents. And though much has been accomplished, I concluded last year's address by saying that we should be proud of how far we have come as a city, but also remain aware of how much more we have to do, because progress is never done. We move Vancouver forward as a team. The Vancouver City Council leads by developing policy. The city manager and staff develop those decisions by delivering service and capital projects. Community members contribute their time serving on boards and commissions and as neighborhood leaders and as now volunteers. And then our residents and our businesses weigh in by providing their feedback, not just to the council, but also to the staff. A great place to call home doesn't happen by itself. It takes partnerships and collaboration and a community that participates, and it takes well thought out plans and investments. And I'm proud to be part of a community that works together. But before I begin my review tonight, I want to speak about an issue that our community is facing. And recently, our community has experienced 4 officer-involved shootings, resulting in the deaths of 3 men. And I want to express our condolences to the family and friends of the deceased and to everyone in the community that was affected by these events. And we are very deeply saddened by the tragedies. And I want you to know that I, as well as my fellow city council members, the city manager, the chief of police, are committed to listening and engaging with dialogue with our community. And we must work together to help heal our community. 2018 was a strong year for Vancouver, and I'm proud of the progress our city has made, and we are all grateful for the contributions from past city councils. I see a couple of my mayors here from Royce and Bruce. You made decisions that we are enjoying today. Community leaders helped set the stage for today's success, and we look forward to continuing the momentum that you started into the future. We have a lot of reasons to celebrate our work from last year. In February, we opened new fire stations 1 and 2 buildings that reflect some of the nation's best practices in design and operations, and those locations were chosen to improve response times to the areas of the city where the highest numbers of calls for assistance. In September, we saw the opening of the Waterfront Park and Pier, a milestone that was over 10 years in the making. 2 new restaurants opened at the same time, and thousands attended the grand opening celebration. Our pavement management program benefited nearly half of the city's neighborhoods by repaving 24 lane miles of streets, preserving 98 lane miles, and constructing 189 ADA-compliant curb ramps. We completed the second segment of a $25 million Northeast 18th Street improvement project from I-205 out to 136th, which brings safety, mobility, accessibility, and urban enhancements to our city's vital east-west corridors. We extended the grant to Continue Share's Talking Trash program, which increased hours and a city-wide reach. This successful program hires crew members who are clients of Share and have experienced or are experiencing homelessness. And this program continues to provide them to gain job experience and an income. We opened the Navigation Center, a day center that provides a supportive environment for people struggling with homelessness, and a place that provides a link to services that will help them transition into housing. As part of the 2020 staffing plan, the Vancouver Police Department was able to reinstate a full-time bike unit. 4 officers patrol downtown and the waterfront 7 days a week. The bike unit officers have really been making a difference in the lives of several of the residents experiencing homelessness in our downtown area. And people want to live and work in a place that provides cultural opportunities, and last year we adopted a cultural art and heritage plan to help support Vancouver's arts community. The arts can be a powerful economic tool and an important part of adding to the vibrancy of our city. We issued over 10,000 building permits. That's a 10% increase from the year before. We replaced 274 single-space parking meters with 50 pay stations, so now you get to use your credit card. We continued our support of the Fourth Plain Business District by partnering with Fourth Plain Forward to coordinate a district-wide beautification program through the Summer of Murals project and organizing business assistant workshops and events. We have 4 new census tracts that are designated opportunity zones. It's a federal program created to incentivize private investment into the low-income urban communities. And there's much, much more on here, but that would make this speech go extra long. So I'll cut it off right there and just continue that over the past year, the city has continued to place a strong emphasis on community safety, quality service delivery, economic development, financial stewardship, community vibrancy, partnerships, and long-term planning. And these and other reasons, we look forward to saying 2019 will be fantastic. But we're not without our challenges. A complex challenge that we continue to face is the lack of affordable housing, and an increasing number of our residents are experiencing homelessness. We're not alone. These are issues being faced by cities across the country. But this year, we'll continue to work with our nonprofit partners, our public safety officers, businesses, and community members in developing and collaborative solutions to these difficult and challenging issues. Just over 2 years ago, Vancouver passed its first affordable housing fund. And this fund provides $6 million a year for the purpose of buying, building, preserving low-income rental housing, and preventing homelessness through the rental assistance and housing services. And through December of 2018, that fund awarded more than $6 million to projects that have preserved the units, enabled local agencies to provide services that would have helped prevent homelessness for over 200 households. The fund also helped preserve over 100 beds in our local shelters. In August last year, the first housing project to be completed with the housing funds opened, Merriweather Place. It's on 4th Plain Boulevard. It's a 30-unit development that provides permanent, supportive housing to low-income and formerly low-income housing individuals. And right now, the city is in the midst of contracting for the next round of $6 million in grants. We have a project slate that includes 13 proposed apartments. And if they're all built, that would be an additional 500 units of low-income housing. We know there's more to do, and it's important to recognize the good work that's being done and made possible, and we thank the voters for approving the affordable housing. The passage of this initiative by voters sends a signal that our community recognizes the need to help tackle the difficult issues without delay. Currently, right now, we have over 5,200 units in various stages of the development pipeline. From pre-application to construction, that space is for 12,000 residents, and about 600 of them are affordable units, which is the most we've ever seen at any one time. And with new units coming online every year, the vacancy rate is improving and rents are starting to stabilize. Last year marked the biggest pavement management program to date. And thanks to the street funding strategy efforts, overall pavement conditions are steadily improving to continue to improve citywide. We're projecting to invest another $11 million this year in pavement management. In addition to paving the way for better streets, those street funding strategy dollars are also helping the city improve accessibility and mobility, replace old signals, providing a local match to get new transportation grants, and that's literally putting our community dollars to work on the street and taking care of what we have. We're also reinvesting in critical utility infrastructure, improving the resiliency, security, and quality of our systems. Our water utility is now the 3rd largest in the entire state of Washington. Phase 1 of Water Station 1 improvement project is now complete. We're moving on to stage 2, and that will add 2 ground-level reservoirs, a new elevated tank, new security fencing, more lighting, and a bike path modification. And then we have C-Tran. Frequent, reliable transit service is critical to connecting Vancouver residents to jobs, services, and amenities. Our partners at C-Tran are working to extend the Vine bus, the rapid transit on Mill Plain, adding high-capacity transit to one of the city's most critical east-west corridors, and connecting residents and neighborhoods across the city from downtown to 192nd. And we will be the poster child for the FTA because we're making it happen in the shortest amount of time. Thank you, Sean. Mill Plain is forecast to add more than 13,000 new jobs and 6,000 new multifamily housing units by 2040. And this project will give people travel options and increase access to employment and housing opportunities. And we look forward to continuing our partnership with C-Tran to meet the transportation needs of Vancouver residents now and in the future. And I'd like to draw your attention right outside this window. I'm sure you noticed the C-Tran bus out there in front. This bus is one of a series of special C-Tran bus designs showcasing local communities, and we're excited to have the City of Vancouver featured on their bus. Yay. Nice. I like the way they were able to get all the little pictures just right inside the doors, and the whole fort is on the back side of that. The city continues design work on a project that will upgrade Southeast 1st Street between 164th and 192nd. Improvements include sidewalks, bike facilities, stormwater, streetlights, sound walls. This project is critical to continued economic development of the Columbia Tech Center employment area, and in addition, it'll facilitate redevelopment of Section 30. That's that old reclaimed mining site just north of Southeast 1st Street. The city has successfully awarded about $4.9 million in grant funds for the project, and with the assistance of the Southwest Regional Transportation Council and the State Transportation Improvement Board, we'll continue to work on obtaining additional grants and additional funding so that that construction can start next year between 164 and about 177th. Complete streets are streets that are safe for all uses, including people who drive, bike, walk, and take transit. And in 2017, the council adopted a complete streets policy, and since that time, we've initiated 2 projects aimed at increasing safety for all users: the West Side Bike Mobility Project and the McLaughlin Safety Improvement Project. Staff is working to develop an inclusive public outreach process, and they will be including a project stakeholder committee. So if you'd like to join that, give us a call. And of course, we never leave without having a discussion of the I-5 bridge. Yay. The city strongly supports efforts to replace the I-5 bridge over the Columbia River to address significant and worsening congestion challenges, to ensure the efficient movement of freight, and make needed safety improvements. I'm encouraged and thankful for Governor Inslee's support for funding to reopen a project office, and for the efforts of the Clark County Legislative Delegation, who continue to work even today to advance a new project in a bipartisan manner. Replacement of the bridge is critical to meeting the region's transportation and economic development needs over the next 100 years and beyond, and we will continue to advocate for our community on this important project. So you heard Chad say that economic development continues to be a top priority and an area that the public has indicated is also important to them. And we have all the ingredients we need here in our attractive, vibrant city to continue strengthening our economy, attract private investment, and bring in new businesses and jobs. With a population of over 185,000 people, Vancouver is the 4th largest and the 2nd fastest growing city in Washington state. In the past 8 years, the diversified economy of Vancouver and Clark County, which is built on healthcare, manufacturing, food processing, and trade, has added 37,000 new jobs and over 1,300 new businesses. And in fact, that job growth has outpaced the Portland metro area, Washington state, and the United States since recovery. And speaking of new businesses and jobs, I want to give a big welcome to Vigor Industrial, who will be moving into the former home of Christensen Yachts along Columbia Way and bringing 400 skilled engineers, designers, and welders at full build-out. At their new Vancouver location, Vigor will be building a new landing craft for the U.S. Army. It'll be exciting to see this historical part of Vancouver being used for shipbuilding again. So welcome to Vancouver, Vigor. Our city's Development Review Division is always looking for ways to improve and simplify the development process. And the division recently took on new steps toward going 100% digital by adding engineering applications to the growing list of development review applications and permits that the city already accepts electronically. So the city's e-plans software allows applicants to submit their applications 24/7 in their pajamas without having to come down to City Hall, and also allows for plans to be routed instantaneously to reviewers, increasing the efficiency and reducing costs. How wonderful. It seems that our downtown is transforming every few months with new restaurants and breweries and shops. And we've welcomed in several new businesses, and over the past 5 years, our downtown has been booming with construction. 8 new apartment buildings were completed. Over 50 new restaurants and breweries have opened. Hundreds of high-tech creative class and design jobs came to downtown, and the Murdoch Foundation, the first office tower to be constructed on the waterfront, has opened. The Waterfront Gateway Master Plan project will kick off this year. This is the redevelopment plan for the city-owned properties around City Hall. This project represents an opportunity to determine desired development types, uses, and amenities that would complement the development that occurred at Esther Short Park and also at the waterfront. And there'll be extensive public feedback involved in this planning process, so stay tuned for your chance to participate. A new campus for education, arts, and innovation is in the early planning stages. The city, along with Vancouver Public Schools and the Library District, are partnering to develop a multi-use campus for education, arts, and innovation. Components include a K-5 school, a performance center, and a community center, all focused on knowledge, arts, and innovation. This project would include reuse of former library buildings along with new construction. The partners are seeking development investors to participate in this landmark project, so there's more to come on that piece. In 2017, the city purchased the 12-acre Town Plaza property, formerly known as Tower Mall, located on Mill Plain Boulevard and Divine, with hopes of using it to help revitalize the area which had been bypassed by much of the new commercial and residential development happening on the east and west sides of Vancouver. The goals of this area include increasing mixed income housing options, adding accessible public open space, increasing connections that allow people to walk and bike to and through the area, and integrating that new BRT. The master planning process for the Heights District began last year and has resulted in a draft plan that reflects input received from the community over the past year. The city will be asking for public comment on that plan starting April 12th, with subsequent review by both the Planning Commission and City Council later this year. Go back to Section 30. It's a former rock quarry located in the northeast corner of the city and is soon to be transformed into an urban employment center. This vision for this sub-area includes a mix of uses, trails, recreational opportunities, and high-wage job growth. One way the city is supporting this vision is through the Southeast First Street Improvement Project, which includes substantial upgrades to the street between 164th and 192nd Avenues. And this major infrastructure investment will enhance access to the site, paving the way for new employment and residential development. Now keep going further east. The city recently purchased 45 acres of land for a future community park to serve residents in the northeast section of our city. This beautiful piece of property is a diverse landscape of open grasslands and wooded wetlands bordering a tributary of Fifth Plain Creek. The unique site offers exciting recreation opportunities, trails, and environmental education. The variety of resources at this location, as well as the adjoining school property, offers multiple prospects for future grants and partnerships to benefit our community. In fact, the county has already partnered with the city with a grant towards site acquisition, so a big thank you to the partners at Clark County. And to top it all off, the great accomplishment over all the years comes down to Vancouver making the livability.com's top 100 best places to live in the United States list. Yay, of course we did. So Vancouver has a great opportunity to make critical investments needed in our growing city. For 22 months ago, actually, we kicked off a Stronger Vancouver. It was our collective effort to develop a long-term structural solution to fund a full range of city services and capital investments that we need over the next decade. The city is in the forever business, and its financial policies reinforce the key principles of fiscal prudence, pay-as-you-go funding, and strong stewardship through asset management. And though the city has remained committed to the culture of continuous improvement and fiscal discipline, the city's cost structure is projected to outpace revenues in the early half of the next decade. Vancouver's revenue system faces many challenges. It's a combination of the repeal of taxes that started in the late 90s, a statewide initiative that has reformed how local government is funded, multiple recessions, and a tightening of the state budget in addition to our rapid population growth, and all of that will result in a steady decline in city revenue year over year. These compounding revenue issues have resulted in substantial capital and operating deficits within the city. And what this means is that we have fewer resources to serve more people. You heard our population is currently over 185,000. 3,500 people move into the city each year, and we're expecting this to continue. 3,500 each year. Right now, we have lower levels of service for people in our community. We've deferred maintenance on a number of assets across the city, and a lower level of service means lower quality of life. So did you know that more than half of our fire stations and our Public Works Operations Center, our critical infrastructure, would not withstand a moderate earthquake? Did you know that 25% of our neighborhood parks are undeveloped? We own the land, but it's vacant, which means that some areas of our city are not served by all of our park systems. Did you know that compared to cities of similar size, we have less than half the median park acreage, 40% of the miles of trails, half of the employees that maintain our parks, but twice the population served in our community centers? Did you know that the number of unsheltered homeless in our county has increased by 80% since 2015? And did you know that we have a street system that is literally the least safe for pedestrians of any city in the state of Washington? And that data is confirmed by Washington State Department of Transportation. Those are pretty significant disparities. A stronger Vancouver is about a stronger city. It's about a city that prospers and thrives, a city with high-quality parks, safe roads, vibrant parking, public spaces, and jobs and amenities that our residents want. And most importantly, a city that provides equitable opportunities for all to succeed. Over the past 22 months, an executive sponsors council made up of community members representing neighborhoods, nonprofits, businesses, healthcare. They've been meeting and diving into extensive learning about city services and budget. This group was charged with designing and overseeing the process for engaging the community and developing a service and funding package to support the city's long-term vision. Throughout these past 22 months, this group has not only met regularly to learn about the city organization, but also participated in community meetings and talks with stakeholders to learn and gather feedback on the services and funding options they were developing. The Executive Sponsors Council had their last meeting a few weeks ago. They distilled nearly 2 years of work into a report and recommendation for a comprehensive service and revenue package of programs and capital investments that they will present to City Council on April 15th, Tax Day. Their recommendation will be out for public feedback and comments starting in April, and more in-depth information about their recommendation will be presented to City Council in a series of workshops between April and June. So I want to thank the people that gave us 2 years of their life. The Executive Sponsors Council for their commitment and their hard work on this initiative, Tim Levitt, Tim Schauer, Heidi Johnson-Bigsby, Mark Manti, Diana Perez, Jennifer Rhodes, Holly Williams, and Casey Wyckoff. City Manager Eric Holmes and Linda Glover, Councilor Glover, also served as non-voting members on the committee. Thank you again to the members. You're a shining example of citizen involvement and caring and passion for love for your city, something we will appreciate for a long, long time. And in closing, when I first moved to Vancouver 38 years ago, I fell in love not just with the man, but with the city and this community. And throughout my years of living here, I have watched Vancouver grow. And while everyone has their own reasons for being here, it is definitely the people, our community, that makes Vancouver a great place. There are so many people who love and care about this city, and like all of you here tonight. And I encourage each of you to take the time to engage and contribute to your city. I encourage you to volunteer for a city board, a commission, many of the nonprofits, your neighborhood association, and now volunteers. I encourage you to give us feedback, answer a survey, watch a city council meeting, send us your comments on a proposed project. We need to hear your voices. We need you to make this city great. I believe our call is to do big things. Things that would not occur if we did not do them. And we must continue to seek new endeavors that build upon the foundation set in the past. Working together, we will successfully meet the challenges and opportunities that come our way in 2019. And working together, we can reach our shared goal of fulfilling Vancouver's tremendous potential. Thank you for being here tonight. Fantastic food, but also if you'd like to go out and take a